Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and welcome to another amazing game of StarCraft 2. This one is being played between Complexity CrunCher. He is the orange Protoss down here in the bottom left corner of Xel'Naga Caverns, and his opponent today is the pink Terran up here in the top right. It says Claves, but don't let the name fool you. This is actually being played by MarineKing Prime. That's right, the very, very, very good South Korean Terran player, MarineKing Prime, is playing on the North American server. That's why his name is different. Someone had to lend him an account, but they lent him an account for the FXOpen Invitational number 2. This is a best of 3 series being played between MarineKing Prime and Complexity CrunCher, so it should be a good one. This is a double elimination tournament, and these games are actually being played for the lower bracket, so whoever loses this best of 3 will be knocked out completely, and the winner will be one step closer towards a $900 first prize. And MarineKing Prime, just one of many South Korean players actually invited to the FXOpen Invitational number 2. Some other names you might recognize are OGS Inca, OGS Xenio, OGS Supernova, and Czech Prime, among others. Lots and lots of great South Korean players coming over to play, and I really, really think that's cool when we have the intercontinental games going on like this. So it looks like CrunCher is going to try and be annoying here with his scouting probe. And if you haven't been paying attention to CrunCher very much lately, if you haven't been watching the live casts that I do every Friday night called The V, hosted by Complexity Gaming and sponsored by Sound Blaster, then you don't know about CrunCher's recent dominance against Terran players in particular. He's beaten LG Pain User 4-1. He's beaten Dignitas Show 4-1. He beat EG LZ Gamer 4-1. So 3 of North America's best Terrans. I say North America, but now I realize Dignitas Show is actually from Sweden. He is the Intel Extreme Masters European champion, and CrunCher 4-1'd him just like those North American players. So CrunCher really, really on a roll lately. He is also participating in the TSL 3 on TeamLiquid.net. If you're not familiar with that, it's got like a $34,000 prize pool. Very, very cool tournament. I highly recommend going and watching those VODs. But now back into this game where we actually have some interesting things occurring here. An assimilator was dropped by CrunCher, so he's doing a gas steal against its Terran opponent, and if you have been watching the V against all those Terran opponents that I mentioned earlier, he's done this almost every single game, so this really limits what the Terran player is going to be able to do in terms of build orders. MarineKing Prime is responding to it perhaps with this barracks over here behind the visibility blocker in the backdoor area outside of CrunCher's natural, so I really cannot say for sure whether this barracks was intended by MarineKing from the beginning or if this gas steal actually helped make up his mind a little bit. CrunCher still just scouting around with this probe here. Of course, that assimilator is going to grant him a little bit of vision as well. CrunCher has to be a little bit worried, maybe, that there are no other production facilities yet, no other major buildings at all being built in MarineKing Prime's base. He's got all this vision from the assimilator. He just got a great look around with that probe and didn't see a factory, didn't see even a second barracks or a command center or anything, so perhaps he is thinking a proxy is possible, but MarineKing Prime does have 2 Marauders, 2 SCVs, and a Marine headed down his ramp now towards CrunCher's base. Does he have a sentry? Looks like he's got one about to finish now and a second one queued up, so he'll have at least 2 force fields by the time this sizable force, this decently sized early force arrives. Over at the proxy barracks, we're going to have a second Marine popping out here soon, and his name is MarineKing Prime, so that does not surprise me, really, that he is focusing so heavily on bio for this first map. And CrunCher actually has a probe hidden here in MarineKing Prime's base. Is he actually going to build a pylon? Yes, he is. So in case he can't defend, perhaps he can go for a base trade scenario, and if he can defend, that is going to be very, very helpful for him to do some warp-ins here soon. But Warp Gate Tech is just about to finish. He does have these 2 sentries here, so he can drop 1 force field at a time, keep all these guys at bay. He did snag an SCV kill there, but these other 2 were repairing each other back up. Now that this one's dead, this one is forfeit as well. He's not going to be able to get repaired back up. He is going to provide vision for all these Marauders and Marines on the low ground, though, if he can do this nice little micro dance, but it looks like CrunCher is just going to stay back. He's going to drop force fields right there at the bottom of the ramp, so no other units can get that vision advantage. He does have enough energy for another force field, but actually moves back a bit early. Now it looks like he just wants to fight these Marines. A couple of Marines go down very quickly. I don't really see a lot of units getting lost here for CrunCher. Looks like those Zealots are doing a decent job before going down, and now some probes are being pulled. One more force field on the ramp did keep this last Marauder at bay, but look at this. MarineKing Prime actually had an idle Marine down there at the bottom during that attack. That's kind of a big mistake that could have actually turned the tide. Maybe not. CrunCher had a lot of units, but still, it's kind of sloppy just leaving units sitting around when they could be helping. 4 gates total now for CrunCher, and there we go. That proxy pylon that we talked about a bit ago looks like it is going to come into play now, while MarineKing Prime is doing all of his work at once, getting a command center up, getting 2, maybe even 3 more barracks. It looks like this one is just queued up by another SCV somewhere else, but still adding on 3 production facilities here and this command center, while CrunCher now has a very large army over here on the right side of MarineKing's base, and he's sending all those units that were defending earlier to come from the left side. So CrunCher's moving in now. Only a couple of Marauders, Marines, and the SCVs being pulled off the line now. Even the mules are coming along for the ride. CrunCher doing a lot of damage here, so even if this attack fails, he will have killed a lot of SCVs and gotten a decent advantage here. All these 3 Stalkers coming from the left side just run right up the ramp, and MarineKing Prime GG's. So I really like that game from CrunCher. MarineKing Prime tried something a little bit risky, and then after it didn't quite work out for him, he was pretty much behind, tried to throw down all his next structures there at one time, didn't have time before CrunCher just did a nice counterattack and a warp in with this sneaky hidden pylon. So that's game 1 for you in this best of 3 series. Now let's move on to game 2 and see what happens next.